Let us quickly do example 3. We are given a pre-adjustment trial balance for the year ended 28th of February 2022. Rent income is 30,500. You were told that rent was received for 30 months. And rent was increased by 100 Rand on the 30th of September. Since the end of the financial year is the 28th of February 2022, it means that the beginning of the financial year will be the 1st of March 2021. The financial year will run from the 1st of March 2021 up to the 28th of February 2022. I need you to note that rent was actually received for March of the following financial year. And that is the problem because the accounting standards, more specifically the accounting framework, does not allow us to recognize income in the period in which it is not earned. Yes, we received rent for March. And for us to say that we are entitled or can recognize that rent as income, we need to have performed a service or lost an asset or used an asset to earn that income, which is not the case for this specific example. Because when we rent out property, we will receive income, but we haven't rented out property for March the following year. Even though we received money for it, but we have not rented it out. We have not earned it. We will only earn it once the tenant stays for that period, which is the next year. So it's unfair for us to say that that is our rent income. So that rent we should actually exclude it, right? So basically, this is what we have. As I've said, this rent increase on the 1st of October. So we're going to have it increased by 100 Rand from the 1st of October. So from the 1st of October, it was X plus 100, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will be X plus 100 for 6 months. However, it was X for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was X for 7 months. Basically, you will have x plus 7, x times 7 plus 6 times x plus 100 should give you that 30,500. Then you will simply have to cross multiply. You multiply 6 with x, which will be 6x, and take the same 6 multiplied by 100, which will be 600. Then you will add 7 with 6 because they have the same variable, and that will give you 13x. And then you're going to have to transpose that 600 to the right-hand side, and it'll be negative when you do that. 30,500 minus 600 will give you 29,900. Then divide both sides by 13. And that will give you 2,300. So it was 2,300 for March up until the 30th of September. But from the 30th of September, per month, it was 2,400. As I've said, it was 2,300 before the 30th of September. But here's the thing. Rent for March, that 2,400 for March, we do not want it. We have not yet earned it. We received it, but we haven't used up an asset, and we can't match that income to any expense for this year. We will only recognize it as income when we let the tenant stays for that month of March. Basically, our rent income has been overstated. If you don't want to use the axis, all you have to do is to use this formula. You take the amount in the trial balance. If it is a decrease, you add it by the decrease times the number of months after the decrease. If it's an increase, you minus it by the increased amount times the number of months after the increase. And then you divide it by the total number of months over which that rent was received. And our rent amount was 30,000 in the trial balance. You will minus because it was an increase, minus by the increase times the number of months after the increase, which was October, November, December, January, February, March. 6 months. Whatever you have, you will divide it by the total number of months over which that rent was received, which is 13 months. Per month, that will give you 2,300, which is okay. But before the increase, it was okay. The problem happened after the increase because there's an increased rent amount that we added, and that rent amount was not supposed to have been added because even though we have received it, we have not yet earned it. And we need to first find the increased amount which was added, and that will be 2,400. So we need to take our rent income and reduce it by that 2,400. Rent is income, so it decreases on the debit side. Then you recognize that 2,400 is liability. For as long as we have it in our hands, yet we haven't provided a service to earn it, it remains a current liability up until we perform a service to earn that 2,400. For now, it'll be a liability, and that liability, we call it income received in advance or deferred income. It is a current liability, and it will be recorded in trade and other payables. Our rent has been overstated. That 30,500 is incorrect. Our actual rent income is 30,500 minus 2,400. So our actual rent income, we're going to take to the statement of profit or loss account. It will be 28,100. That is the actual income we've earned for the current financial year ending on the 28th of February 2022. But that created a current liability, which is income received in advance or deferred income. It's a minus plus because it is a liability. It is a current liability. And that is a minus plus because it is income. Our current liability here that is created will be that 2,400. which will be our balance carried on in the next financial year. In our statement of profit or loss, i.e. the income statement, we are going to take that 30,500 minus what was not earned, what was received but not earned. That will be 2,400. It will give you what has been earned, which is 28,100. And the trade and other payables, we put the actual amount that was received, but for which we have not yet performed a service. And that will be 2,400. Clear? If I was too fast, please play it in slow motion. Rewind if you need to. Take important notes as you're doing it. Try this class workout. Because it's pretty much similar to example 3, I will give you the solutions. Give yourself 10 minutes to complete it, and then after 10 minutes, just press play. The only difference is that here, we received a rent for 14 months. That is because it includes a rent for April and March, which fall in the next financial. So 2 months fall outside the financial year. You first calculate the rent before the increase and then rent after the increase, but you multiply it by 2. That's 400. It is for March and April, and the fact that it's in red shall be concerning, as that indicates that it should not be included in the rental amount for this year. So we need to subtract those 2,000 for March and April. By debiting rent income and crediting our income received in advance, which is a current liability. Rent will be decreased by the extra 2 months over which we received it, so that our actual rent income will be 22,800, and that 3,000 times 2 will be income received in advance. We still owe it to the tenant because they've paid for it, but we have not given them property to stay. In the income statement, we will subtract that 4,000, and that 4,000 will be income received in advance in trade and other payables. Try classwork 2, give yourself 10 minutes again. Press pause for 10 minutes. Try it out on your own before you check out the solution. This one is pretty much the same as the previous one, but now there was a decrease. And they said rent was received for March 2022. That means rent has been received in advance. It has been received for 13 months. Starting from March 2021 up to the 28th of February 2022, that is 12 months, rent was decreased here. So it became X minus 300. If it decreases by the actual amount, you minus. You don't multiply by the decrease percentage. No, you minus the actual decrease. And when you do that, it was 6x. Let's check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then after that, it was x minus 300 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it was x minus 300 for 7 months. And obviously this will give you 1,800. So when you reduce that 1,800 by 300, it'll give you 1,500, which was for March. We need to get rid of that. By debiting our rent, or use the formula I said, if it's a decrease, it'll be a plus. If it's a decrease, it'll be the plus the increased amount times the number of months after the increase. If it's a decrease, it'll be minus the increased amount times the number of months after the decrease, and divided by the total number of months over which that rental income was received. So debit your rent income by 1,500 and credit income received in advance. Your rent income will also decrease by that 1,500. The actual rent income earned will be 19,800, which will take it to profit or loss. And what we owe to our tenant will be 1,500, which is what will be recorded as income received in advance in the next financial year. In the income statement, our rental income must decrease by that 1,500. And obviously in trading other payables, we'll create a liability, which is income received in advance or deferred income of 1,500. Try this one out. Give yourself 10 minutes. It's basically a repetition of everything that we have done. It was received for 15 months, but it was increased by 12%. It means from 1 November 2021, it became 112. It was at 112%. We don't want April, March, April, May. We don't want them. So we just have to find them. So it was X4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And then it became X plus X times, it became 112%. X at 112% with 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So it was X times 112% for 7 months, and manipulate the formula and you will get X as 3,600. Times it by 3 to give you the extra amounts that we received in advance, and that will give you a total of 12,096 being received in advance. That 12,096, we need to get rid of it by debiting our rent by that amount and crediting our income received in advance, which is 12,096. Please note that they also told you that commission income was only received for 11. So we have accrued income. We have 1 month of commission income that was not received. So I showed you that you'll just divide by, give you commission per month. So that commission per month, 1 month has not been received. So that's why we debit accrued income and credit commission income. Our rent will decrease by 12,096. Commission will increase by 2,000. Alrighty, and that'll be it with respect to rent income. Check out the insurance adjustments. I have already posted videos for this. If you have questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I've given you my number, my WhatsApp number, as well as my email address. If you need any extra accounting, please do contact me via email or via WhatsApp number. Thank you for your support and have a great Sunday. Kgotso.